Greetings, friends, and welcome to another episode and another season of the Grog Pod Roguelike podcast, where we're all friends, friend. Each episode, we wake up inside a new rogue-style game, rescue the lost game mechanics and lore, and if it gets to Lucario rank, we'll revisit it at the end of our season recap tournament. I am your 5,000 IQ host, psychic host of the podcast, Scott Berger, and with me for this kickoff episode of this season of the Grog Pod, who's that pokey host?
Oh, this is Will Wright. This is going to be the Dream Eater dragging you to the dark place.
Oh, hello. I'm known as, you know me, I'm old shadowless Andrew Harshman.
And it's me, Colin. I'm just a helpless Caterpie who needs help in rescuing.
And we couldn't be navigating the crevasses and fire fields of this episode without our special guest, who's returning from our previous Mystery Dungeon Sheeran the Wanderer episode.
Hi, I'm Miss Helen at Gagther. I don't have a Pokemon-related bit ready. I'm sorry.
Well, as you probably could have guessed from the title of the MP3 that you just downloaded, we are talking this week about Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Blue Rescue Team, released in Japan November 17th, 2005, and in the North American release September 18th, 2006. 20 years! Where can we find it? We can find it on Game Boy Advance for the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Red Rescue Team version. The version we played, Mystery Dungeon Blue on the Nintendo DS, and the remake, the remaster, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX on the Switch, released in 2020. This was developed by our friends at Chunsoft, who gave us our previous episode here of Mystery Dungeon 2, Sheeran the Wanderer. I'm looking through their list of 10 other games that they've developed up to this point for Pokemon Mystery Dungeon that we haven't covered it all yet, because I guess technically when we were talking about Azure Dreams and One Way Heroics, those are, I guess, honorary Mystery Dungeon games. But anyway, published by, I don't know if anyone's really heard of this solo indie dev company called the Pokemon Company. Something like the highest grossing media franchise of all time or something. I don't know. It's really obscure. You've probably never heard of it. Following my heuristics from the Sheeran the Wanderer episode, because this game is not on Steam, trying to figure out how popular this game is, Blue Rescue, Red, like this, I guess, combined Blue and Red Rescue Team sold 5 million copies. And if we're going by the Sheeran math that I did last time, it's something like, I don't know, like 2% of people actually like rate games on Steam. So 5 million sales, 2% review rate, it's about 100,000 reviews, let's say. That would put it on our Steam list of all the other games that we've talked about at something about like the number 25 most popular rogue, in air quotes, game of all time, which is no small feat.
And again, people like Pokemon.
What? And also the amount of gameplay hours is tough to do, but following Sheeran from last time, I went to howlongtobeat.com, and according to that, your average player of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Blue has about 18 hours of main story, 43 hours of main plus sides, and your completionist of Mystery Dungeon Red and Blue has 208 hours of gameplay in it.
Scott, you told us 10 hours to beat the story. I just want to point that out.
That's how long it took me.
You led us astray.
That's how long it took me. But before we jump into our rescue rankings of this game, Helen, you're in a dream. And you've been visited by a Gardevoir who tells you a secret. And that secret is the one-sentence description of what one does in Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Blue Rescue Team.
It's not a roguelike. Okay, that's one. My real one is, what is it like to be a child and to not be believed? That's what I have to say about this game.
But you're not a child. You're a Pokemon.
You're a child.
Or are you?
You're a child. You're a child who is now a Pokemon.
There we go. That sums up all the gameplay. That sums up all the items in the game.
Well, she only got one sentence.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. Yeah, we have gone a little off the deep end historically. What else does one do in this game other than be a child that everyone ignores?
Well, I mean, Helen, you say it's not a roguelike, but there's lots of dungeons. Those dungeons have floors. They're connected by stairs. There's leveling. There's shared rules and move sets between the player character and the enemies.
Do you lose
procedurally generated?
Do you lose those levels, Andrew?
Well, I mean, you lose Pokebucks, which are, I mean, practically as important.
You do that in normal Pokemon too. When you lose a normal Pokemon, you lose money. Is that a roguelike?
Yes.
Only if you crawl under a truck afterwards. So I mean, there's no permadeath, but there is a permadeath mode maybe later in the game. I think it's plenty roguey for us to be talking about.
You're right though, Andrew. They should kill the Pokemon when they die.
Yes. Thank you.
I mean,
thank you.
We'll get to that in the
about killing Pokemon
conversation. Yeah. So yeah, let's paint a little bit of a picture for people who maybe aren't familiar with this game. It is, of course, grid based. You're piloting a Pokemon, and no, you're not a Pokemon trainer in this game. Think again, folks. Your character, not just your character, but you yourself have been isekai'd into the Pokemon world, and you are piloting, kind of like the Avatar program in James Cameron's Avatar. You're piloting a Pokemon, and in my case, a blue Pokemon, so it's even more apt a comparison. In a grid-based world, you build a party, and you are going around engaging in mystery dungeon trademark combat, which usually involves bumping into adjacent enemies. The game's doing a lot of math behind the scenes, and so you get a good dungeon crawl experience, but it's fast, it's quick, and because it's a Pokemon game, you can manually select specific abilities, TMs, HMs, which stand for something. I couldn't be bothered to look it up.
Trademark.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think like this game I added to our list, and I think this season of the podcast will kind of underscore why, because in the past we've kind of intentionally like pulled at the silly putty that is like the madness of genre definition, and there's some games that we've covered that are definitely not roguelikes from their marketing material, but maybe have a mode that's similar to it, or is enough inspired by the idea of the genre that warrants at least a discussion, if not like it's interesting from a discussion perspective. And I think that's why like this one lands here, because these games sold something like almost 14 million copies before FTL became popular. And I think it really kind of underscores like this is what like turn-based, grid-based dungeon crawlers were up until other ones that have like come out that have kind of like wrestled back the definition of like, oh, that's not a real roguelike, it's this instead. Like, I don't think there have been 14 million players of NetHack or Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup or things like that, but so it's worth talking about. Like that's like 11 million before Spelunky 08 came out, and maybe like 12 million before Binding of Isaac. So like this was like a game that came out that had such enormous colossal appeal, probably because Pokemon. But I think like is maybe the best intro to a traditional roguelike game? Question mark. Maybe we'll revisit.
Is this the most popular traditional roguelike?
In terms of
like
grid-based, turn-based dungeon crawling, yes.
Yeah.
Permadeath, no, as we'll probably talk about in a minute. But I think like because we're coming off of the heels of our Omega Bowl 3 winning Caves of Cud, I think like permadeath is like a major critical component to like what makes a roguelike work. Like I don't think Hades would work if like the death of that run didn't reset you. In the same vein, playing Caves of Cut as a pure roguelike is a miserable experience right out the gate. It's really bad. It is not user friendly at all. And playing on like a role play mode where you can like reset from a checkpoint, much better. It kind of comes back in on itself afterwards of like, oh, okay, now I like understand all the game systems and all these enemies and stuff, and now permadeath feels like a more suitable option. But that's why when I was coming to this, like I think I started playing this like last summer or something, because I knew that like this was on the horizon. Like I'm gonna give myself plenty of ramp time to just kind of sit and stew in it. And well, like when I was playing Caves of Cod, I'm like, God damn it, I just wish it was like just send me back to the start of the dungeon. Don't like kill me outright for the permadeath mode. But I think we're maybe getting a little bit of ahead of ourselves. Like this Pokemon game here is like neck deep in nostalgia. Like this is like people are super nostalgic, not just for Pokemon, but for this game in particular as well. So I kind of want to go around the horn here with what are people's experience with Pokemon growing up? How does that translate to now? Like do you when was yeah, Colin,
I
Pokemon.
mean, I posted in our internal Discord that this felt like Jason Bourne, where I was just like unbidden knowledge springing forth from my deep subconscious, like Pokemon knowledge, because I basically had everything from the first two generations of Pokemon memorized at some point in my life, 25 years ago. Uh, but that is, and then I haven't really done anything with Pokemon since then. So, everything that you could play on the Game Boy Color. And so then, DS, I never had a DS. So I'm surprised that I didn't know about these. I'm surprised that my sisters didn't play them because they're 7 years younger than me. So I feel like they must have just not known they existed.
I feel like these did come out during like peak Halo 3 time for us. And I feel like that was,
Yeah.
at least for me anyway, that's where my mind's eye was at. Will, what's your historical experience with Pokemans?
The Pokemans, well, yeah, I was all about that when I was in like I want to say fifth grade, sixth grade. I mean, the fourth grade sounds right actually. I vaguely
It's fifth grade.
fifth grade. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
No, super into it. Only the original 151. That's what my knowledge kind of cuts off at. I know I'm getting some eye rolls right now. But yeah, no, I was the kid that I would draw a Pokemon and like sell that drawing to someone in
Whoa.
school because people were like so obsessed with this stuff, and so I was able to monetize on these mega fans, and I thought it was an interesting franchise, and now I look back and I think I'm not. I think it's so stupid, but times change, people change, people grow up. Some don't, as we'll find on this podcast.
Some
But
evolve.
yeah,
Ooh.
people
But not the
evolve.
Pokemon in this game. They don't evolve, at least not until much later.
Yeah,
Andrew.
I was pretty disappointed when my Pokemons didn't evolve when they hit the appropriate levels.
Well, we'll get there. We'll get there. We're talking about
there's
story in a bit.
so much to say about Pokemon. We could do a whole episode on this topic. Just four unks reminiscing about what it was like when Pokemon first dropped. So my experience was that I was on a family camping trip, and some of our family friends, some of the kids had Pokemon, and I played it. And I've said this before. What struck me about it was the first like good Game Boy game that I experienced. It was the first like full-fledged, fully realized game experience, but on this tiny little, black and white portable system, and that really struck me. Also, I thought it was very entertaining that the main antagonist was named Gary because my dad's name is Gary, and he was delighted to hear about that. So I was very into it. I collected the cards for a while, but really, I did not touch a Pokemon game beyond Red and Blue for a super long time. And these games I didn't realize existed as well. I'm not totally sure what I was doing instead of picking up more Pokemon games, but I guess I got distracted by PC gaming or something.
Helen.
Me turn. I've played every mainline Pokemon game. I've played every single one. For a long time, when you Googled my full name, what you found was me as like a 12-year-old placing in like top 8 or 12 or something in the Seattle official VGC Pokemon tournament for like whatever kids bracket.
Amazing.
I'm deep in it. I have like elaborate and extensive Pokemon and Pokemon trivia knowledge. Like I don't think of myself as a crazy Pokemon person because I'm not like, I don't know, talking about it all the time when it's not relevant. But like, I don't know, I'll watch like every once in a while I'll click on like a listicle or video listicle that's like top 10 Pokemon things you didn't know. And I'm like, I knew that. I knew that. Well, actually, that is not quite correct. So that's my Pokemon experience. Big fan of Pokespe, Pocket Monster Special, the Pokemon manga, which is maybe the best outside of the Mystery Dungeon games. The best like Pokemon world stories are in that comic. Do you need me to list more credentials? What am I missing?
Yeah, I mean, we'll probably be touching more on it as we go along, but
I need to know more about your Pokemon battle skills. Now, was that that was like 6 Pokemon battle, you Game Boy link each other
Well, so
in
this was
like a convention center or something? I'm fascinated at like this. I'm assuming this was mostly pre-internet, yeah?
Well, this was in the Nintendo DS era. So the first like official VGC tournaments were in the DS era. So it was like, everyone brings their own DS and game. And they actually didn't have a built-in system at the time to like force like okay, like now for those systems, for those tournaments, they have a system in the games where it'll just like set all your Pokemon to 50, if, like that's the rules. But like you actually had to manually make sure your Pokemon met all like the rules. And then they have to like check your team. You have to like carry around a team list to make sure you weren't a little cheater. But VGC is in its life. VGC stands for Video Game Championships. It's the like official Pokemon company, like the official competitive format.
Wow.
It's bring 6, take 4, and it's doubles. So you like go in and you get to like this like preview screen and you can see your 6 Pokemon and their 6 Pokemon. And then you each take 4 of them into the battle. So you can like kind of see what they're cooking. And if you like see if you know what's maybe you like think you know what they're going to lead with or whatever, or they have a really hard counter to something you have a really hard counter to something they have. So yeah, but doubles is important.
What does doubles mean?
2v2.
So in Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, they added double battles, which is both sides have 2 Pokemon out.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
I was like, is it like you and a friend are also playing and you're like that?
Yeah, I completely misunderstood. Never mind.
Yeah,
All right, I'm glad you asked for clarification.
I feel like maybe we're getting off topic from our roguelike podcast.
But all this to say, Helen is incredibly qualified to talk about this, and she has the most valid opinion of anyone here, obviously, because she might not be the very best, but she was the 8th very best.
More valid than
my
9 holographic ancient Mew Pokemon
from the movie.
cards?
Are those old ones or are those from when they re-released them? And don't lie to me.
These are the OGs in the foil from God. What was that?
Did you have to watch that movie 9 times to get 9 cards?
You had to go and buy a ticket.
Did you go? Did you see the Pokemon movie 9 times?
I saw I saw it maybe 3 times in a row, and then my parents were sick of taking me to it. So then I wound up like anytime that I would go to like a different movie, like while I was still playing, I was going to a lot of movies that weekend, as you can imagine. And I think like I would just because you had to like buy a ticket and then like go through and they would give you the card, and then. I think I like went through, bought the ticket, got the card, and then went back through the turnstile to like get the ticket to go to the actual movie that I wanted to, because they had like the gatekeeper people to make sure like, oh, you gotta make sure to go to the movie that you're watching, kind of thing. But yeah, I have my huge collection of Pokemon cards here. I think what was it? I think I was a Pokemon Red child growing up, and
I knew it. I knew it.
Everyone knows blue's best.
No,
Yo,
no, no.
I'm sorry,
False.
sorry, Colin, but like
Gotta get that far
the
fetched.
nerds had
Colin's
blue.
Colin's coming in for the girl version. This is
Well,
interesting.
my brother had red and I had blue, and we had two game.
Oh
We
man.
bought two Game Boys. Uh, for us, a Game Boy was not a machine that played games. It was a machine. We bought Pokemon's and we bought a Game Boy to play Pokemon. And other games were like a wow. It's crazy that the Pokemon machine can also play other games.
I mean, it really was like a console selling game at the time, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a little bit younger than you guys, so I experienced Gen 1 and 2 like at the tail end of them as a small child. Um, but like it was kind of the Game Boy game, right? Like in a lot of ways, right?
Yeah.
It was the cornerstone of like fifth and sixth grade for me. I was like this close to failing sixth grade, I think because of Pokemon Silver.
Oh no.
And I wound up at the time getting a Japanese ROM hack on my 90s compact Presario running, and I was playing through all of
As a
Pokemon
sixth
Silver
grader?
as a sixth grader playing through all of Pokemon Silver in Japanese, almost learning Japanese accidentally as a result. Uh, and yeah,
Just like memorizing the shapes of the letters of the
basically, and
characters.
like I was like pronouncing them phonetically at the time because like even though like my starter for this game, Totodile, is like that's the English name for it. Like whatever the Japanese name of it is that I'm spacing on, like that's what like my brain is like kind of anchored on, weirdly enough. So like if I'm encountering a Hoot Hoot or something from Gen 2, I'm just like, what was the Japanese name for that thing again? Oh, that's right. That's what it's really called. Got it. Um, yeah, so Pokemon Red, Yellow, Gold, Silver, Pokemon Pinball, the Pokemon trading card game for Game Boy.
That one's good.
Yeah,
It's like a
that's
good digital TCG game. It is.
going
It's
over
cute.
to going down the street to my
The Pokemon
friends.
board game,
There's a
Oh,
board.
dog shit.
so bad,
Which
so
was, are you
bad.
talking about like I think I know the
Yeah,
exact one. The
the
one
like
with
the very
the
first ones they
discs?
made. Yeah,
Yeah.
absurdly bad, so disappointingly bad.
All right,
I
well,
had that.
we should probably talk about this game at some point.
Yeah, this is a
Yeah.
game about rescue teams.
This is a
So
game unlike
before
his
we
other games. You are a Pokemon.
Yeah.
indeed critical
And I
difference.
think crucially to compare to our last real mystery dungeon game of Sheer and the Wanderer. I'm not going to include Azure. Well, I don't know. Azure Dreams is also weirdly similar because of the monster collecting. But anyway, this is so much closer to Sheeran that you know you're walking around in a grid-based, tile-based dungeon, and instead of like womping monsters with items that you pick up for the most part, you're using your Poke moves, all of your familiar bubbles and water guns and things like that
And you're
to
just like going
annihilate.
around just like staring at stuff, leering at stuff, making scary faces at stuff.
And you're bludgeoning other Pokemon into submission to be your friends, just like you do in real life. But also crucially different to Sheeran is that you're rolling at least at a minimum with a squad of two, and you can go up to as high as a squad of four. Um, but you are running around, you're bludgeoning Pokemon to catch them in that sense. You're picking up items and you're doing quests along the way and you're getting more and more loot and gold and things like that. A notable change from the other Mystery Dungeon games, a severe lack of dungeon traps here, which I can 100% get on board with, at least for the story mode. Virtual high five there to Helen. I saw that. Which really made me very mad in Sheeran. Glad to see that they're dialed way back here. But yeah, so if you're running around the dungeon and either you or your partner faint, then you're sent back to town. You lose some amount of your Poke Gold. You lose some of your items. So it's not permadeath. But if you're grinding through like a 30 or 40 floor dungeon, it may as well be because like the amount of time that you've dumped into that dungeon crawl and not using emulator save states like I was, then you're just going to throw your DS across the room. So oh, and crucially, another point here is that there are new ground tile types that certain Pokemon can walk on, but others can't. So, for example, if you're going through like fire dungeon, there are like lava tiles that like a fire type Pokemon can walk over. Or if there's like water or ice tiles or something, then a water tile or a water type Pokemon can move over. Or if your Pokemon is flying, they can just say fuck it, and like nothing really matters to me at all.
And in that way, it is similar to Caves of Cud.
Indeed. There are moves. There's Poke moves. So you have 4 moves for a given character. You can link those together into various sequences. So you could do like a sleep powder and then a leech seed immediately afterwards, but that comes with the consequence of draining your PP, your power points for those. And then if you run out, they delink. And what are else other than the oh yeah, and you
Your
have
Pokemon
these
follow you in a line, and
they follow you in a line, and you have these weird like AI micromanagement tools between IQ and tactics, which I was getting the hang of it towards the end and kind of like microing my dudes around. I kind of wish that I explored it further earlier on for some of the boss battles, but this is a thing where as your Pokemon are instead of evolution, so to speak, it's more like they gain like AI traits to them. Like, oh, this Pokemon knows how to use items, and like if it has a Reviver Seed on it, then if someone faints, it'll do like a cool spin move and throw the Reviver Seed at them and heal them up. Um, and then there are things like tactics, which are like, okay, in the heat of battle, in the heat of this moment, what are you, Bulbasaur, going to do to either aid me in combat or get the fuck away and not get bludgeoned by a Moltres kind of thing. So there are ways that you can kind of micro them around, and that becomes more useful as a tool in the post-game stuff that we'll probably get to. But between that and like the item usage, it's kind of your standard mystery dungeon fare of like you'll be going through this dungeon, you'll be picking up items to help you along, to like show me where all the enemies are, or show me where the exit is, or warp all of the enemies in this room away from me, or bring all the items to me, those kinds of things. And those can come in the form of berries like Oran berries that give you 100% health, different seeds uh, that you can throw, and some of them are cursed items that like will slow people down. You can throw them at enemies and stuff. You have bands, which I think are supposed to be bandanas. Is that right?
I think so. Well, I so there's like the one that you have as like your like rescue team thing, and like in the official art, it's like on some of your guys it's like a like neck scarf, on some guys it's like a head thing, on some it's like tied around the like ankle. So it's just presumably like, I don't know, some sort of little wrap thing, just depending on what limbs or
Right, yeah.
head you possess.
It's like a hanky coat, right?
Yeah. Not like your Livestrong bands that go around your wrist. These are things like power bands or special bands or like Pecha scarves to protect from poison. But then you have orbs, just orbs that will help you escape or freeze monsters and things like that.
Or not work in the boss fights. Yep.
Yep, I remember that. You got your TMs, your HMs for things for swapping out move sets. Like if you're going through a dungeon, oh no, I've run out of PP. I don't have any max elixirs on me anymore. What am I gonna do? Well, you're in luck. You can swap out those moves with a technical machine or a hidden machine to refill those item or those movements or yeah, the move slots in as much as movement is an ability. So okay. And then we also have, we'll get to in a second, but Pokemon Square, which is kind of like your main town hub that has your Kecleon shop with 2 I believe these are Gen 3 Pokemon that are shopkeepers that have stuff where you can buy items and TMs. You have your bank where you can store money with a Persian cat. You got your Wigglytuff friend shop. Yay! We're all friends. Happy bubblegum sunshine. This is where it's explained in a minute here, but this is where you must buy areas for Pokemon to reside. You got your Kangaskhan storage, where you can store and retrieve items. You got your Gulpin Link shop.
Will's favorite character.
Sweetie.
The storage, the item storage shopkeep is real
poke
sweetie.
me, I'm gonna go on a rant, so don't be careful.
Pokemon. You got your Gulpin Link shop, which does all the linking stuff, and that's where you can remember moves that you have forgotten, so that you can only have 4 moves at a time. So if you're like, I don't know if I want to forget this one, you can always go back and re-remember
Really
it.
appreciate that. That's a good quality of life feature.
Yeah, it allows you to kind of like get a build going to some degree. You got Wishcast Pond with the lore master, and in the post game, that's where your evolution chamber will wind up being. You got your dojo where you can do very easy 3 dungeon floors to kind of grind up and do a little bit power leveling. And then you got your Pelipper post office, where this is where the rescue job board is, and where you can do online rescue missions to help friends who have fallen in dungeons and things like that. Okay, I think that's kind of like the broad strokes. I guess we'll probably fill in details as we
Indeed,
go.
and critically, this is a game about forming a rescue team. What is a rescue team? It's hey, when a missing person report goes out on the favorite the popular hiking trail here in the Pacific Northwest, we send out the volunteers to go and rescue the poor folks. Similar thing, except you're Pokemon. Hey, I gotta hear. We gotta go around the horn and find out what people's Pokemon rescue team names are. I, of course, dubbed mine the very clever Pokey Patrol.
Mm. Mine was Team Grogpod, as you would probably guess it to be.
Naturally.
I
Of course.
always I always make them something vulgar because I've played these games since I'm an adult, and I just always make them. I'm like, what will sound the worst when it like gets
in
name
dialogue.
dropped in the
Right.
story?
For sure, for sure.
I think mine was Chonkers. I don't remember exactly, but that sounds about right.
I was Ape Kips because I had a Mudkip as my partner, and I
Excellent.
couldn't figure out what else I wanted to call it.
Right. And of course there's the meme of the ape squad and going ape
Apes
mode
Together
and
Strong and all
Mhm.
that
yeah,
above. Yeah.
the indeed Planet of the Apes situation. Well, all right, real quick. I'm gonna
Yeah,
try
Planet
not
of
to
the Apes.
nitpick.
They come back, they go in the spaceship, and they come back, and everyone's Pokemon.
Oh, that's gonna be the next one.
You maniacs!
So I'm going to try my best to not like nitpick the lore and the world of Pokemon. 'cause
Why?
There's
Why would you
there
try
is
to avoid it?
a
Dig
lot
in.
to
Hey, there's
possibly
a feast
be.
in front of you. Just dig in.
But
There's
here-
no pockets at all.
Yeah, there's
I didn't see a
no
single pocket in this whole game.
not a. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes, so true. So rescue teams. Quick question. I'd never heard of a rescue team before. Is this the first instance of the concept in canon of a Pokemon rescue team?
Correct. This
Okay.
game or these set of Mystery Dungeon games, like as far as we can tell, are kind of set in their own continuity.
Sure.
In one of the later Mystery Dungeon games, we see like large swaths of the world in a way that kind of like makes no sense if you
There's
think
some
about the
strange-
fact that like the normal Pokemon games, like Japan is full of cities, it's just kind of like
interesting.
I-
But when I first like started playing this game, it's like, all right, we're gonna form a rescue team. Your partner, you pick a partner Pokemon. In my case, Pikachu, because obviously Pikachu, Pika-P, my man, which is what I named him, is the only choice. If I want a sprite of a character following me around, it's got to be Pikachu. So when he says, "Hey, we got to form." Andrew, we got to form a Pokemon rescue team. I'm like, rescue them from what? Wandering around in random places? That's what Pokemon do. They wander around until a hapless 10-year-old bumps into them and has to fight them to the death. So that's
Like,
my only
rescuing a raccoon from the woods.
issue. No, I joke, of course. The reason that we're rescuing people is because in this pokey world that we have been isekai'd to, that we've been transported to, there has been an increase in natural disasters. Just one of the many topics that is incredibly poignant and relevant to today, despite being a 20-year-old game. So there's all these natural disasters happening and all these Pokemon getting in trouble, and we got to go rescue them.
There was a very wild lore, like getting way too deep into the lore video of like, like that picture of like the glacier, and it's just like it goes like deeper and deeper and deeper, and then they were just like getting way too deep into it, and then like the bottom of the glacier was talking about like parallel universes and how this one like has like a potentially a weird story tie-in with another Pokemon game with parallel universes, and that like a major aspect of the end of the story here is like a thing from one of those other games, question mark, that maybe we'll come back to.
Ooh.
But
I'll have to watch that. So all that to say, Scott, what is the story of this game? What's the story so far?
Our beloved story to this game, which I think is the principal draw that most people have to this game in this series.
What the hell? Okay,
Is,
go ahead.
yeah, when you ask people about Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, they always talk, oh, I loved the story. That was the main thing that really gripped me. And
I'll be talking about and thinking about the storyline for years and years and years. Let me tell you.
I need to interrupt for a moment. People really like this game, but when people talk about Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, they are more often talking about the next game specifically.
That's the Sky Explorer one.
It was Time and Darkness, and then Sky is like a third game. Sky adds like some stuff that like makes the game easier, which is funny because like they're already really easy games for children. And then at the same time, like adds a bunch of like cool new story content and stuff. If you like Wigglytuff from the store, there's a lot of Wigglytuff in there. This guy hates Whimsy. This guy hates Whimsy. Did you beat the game? Did we all beat the game?
No, I didn't beat it.
Yes, I got through it.
Colin.
All right, so this the story that people are largely drawn to for the series begins with a sequence, white text on black, which is always kind of like I think like the internal player character's narration of where am I? What's going on? Am I dreaming this? And then the words, okay, let the interview begin. And it starts with Will's favorite thing in the world, a Myers-Briggs personality quiz test.
Is that actually? Wait, I mean, I took the test. I'm curious. How did it assign Pokemon? Does anyone know like what the deal is behind it? Yes, please tell me. I'm curious.
So every Pokemon basically has like, there's like an adjective attached to the Pokemon. Some of them are natures from Pokemon games. Some of them aren't, I think. But basically every question, like every answer for a question will give you like a couple points towards one of these Pokemon. From memory, I think it's like not sometimes, you might answer a question, it might give you like 2 points towards one and 1 point toward another. It's not always just like these are Totodile points. But I mean, the thing that's kind of funny about the personality quiz in this game is like it only gives you like 3 or 4 questions, and most of those have like 2 or 3 answers, and there's like 16 Pokemon or something. So like, it's like in any one instance of taking the quiz, it's like you're not even going to have every Pokemon as a potential like outcome.
Oh, interesting.
Like I remember doing specifically with the second game, which I remember playing when it came out as a child. I remember having to like retake the quiz a bajillion times because it just like would not give me the questions for whatever Pokemon I wanted. So just had to like keep going.
So for example, one question like, do others tell you to watch what you say? And you are given a yes/no option. And if you pick yes, you'll get impish +1 and sassy +2.
Yeah, every week on this podcast. Yep.
Or if you say no, you'll get calm +2. So yeah, it kind of like pushes in one direction or another. And then like that'll determine like, okay, like add up those points. I mean, it has as much scientific basis to it as being an INTJ or ESFP. So it makes that much sense when at the very end it says, okay, are you a boy or a girl? You flip a coin and pick which one. I think that really only it determines 2 things. It determines like some of the Pokemon are explicitly locked out of one of those options, and it changes the UI color, where I think the girl one I believe is pink.
I believe some Pokemon. So like if you're like impish or whatever, I believe that might give you a different Pokemon based on what gender you are.
I'm looking at this game facts something, and yeah, it absolutely, there's like a completely different list for male versus female.
Yeah, so like so the starters that you can be assigned based on this phrenology exam here are your favorites between like Bulbasaur, Charmander, Chikorita, Cubone, Cyndaquil, Eevee, Machop, Meowth, Mudkip, Pikachu, Psyduck, Skitty, Squirtle, Torchic, Totodile, and Trico. And then after you do all that, it says, all right, what partner do you want to pick? And from that list, it narrows down considerably where your only partners that you can pick from are Bulbasaur, Charmander, Chikorita, Cyndaquil, Mudkip, Pikachu, Squirtle, Torchic, Totodile, or Trico. So you're at least given the option of like, all right, who do you want your buddy to be? And
That
so
is so many sprites, so many facial gesture sprites. Wow. Okay.
yeah, and I wound up going. I was assigned Totodile, which was the first water start for me personally, and then I wound up picking Bulbasaur as my partner, which I didn't realize at the time was hard mode. But I'm curious what other people's selections were.
I was Cyndaquil and Mudkip, which are I'm looking at this now, and they're both the timid Pokemon. So I guess that's the theme for my team.
Machop
Hey.
and whatever the mud. I don't even
Mudkip.
know the name of this thing. It's
Oh,
the
come
whatever.
on. He just said it.
Mudkip.
Mudkip. Yeah, I don't know. He was the
I mean, that's
get away from me. You're the annoying piece of shit that I just don't want to have.
Oh, man.
Like it was so frustrating dealing
Will?
with this fucking Pokemon. I
Will?
swear to God.
This guy hates children so much. Don't ever
I
let
do.
this guy be a father.
I would be a great dad, first of all. Second of all,
no.
this is absolutely absurd. This game and how this. Oh God, I just.
I've
hate
been
it.
using the crying Mudkip emoji a lot in our Discord channel over the past.
So,
week
but
or so.
critically, Will, why did you choose those Pokemon?
Choice. Is there a choice in that? I don't think there was a choice.
Because he's brave. That's what this
All right.
personality
well,
quiz
okay.
says, that he's a
Will was
brave
picking up
Famously-
because of Mohawk.
You pick
Yes,
the ones
thank
with
you.
your
No,
hair.
I miraculously got the Mohawked dudes. The
Isn't that
Machop.
incredible? It's perfect. The game knows you so well.
Yeah. And the Mudkip has kind of a little thing going on, a little fin thing. So I was like, all right,
Exactly.
we got some Mohawks. I can deal with that.
There you go.
We heard you liked
so,
Mudkips.
yeah. Come on. I can't believe you don't know from Mudkip from the meme. Anyway,
I know up to 151. Everything beyond that is
Totodile.
an absolute mystery to me.
Old.
which I recognized Totodile's appearance. I did not recognize his name, so I was like, what the hell? Totodile and, as I mentioned before, Pikachu, because he's my best friend, a dear friend, a friend I'll never forget.
I mean, did
A
you cry?
friend like no other.
You cried in the anime when you thought Ash was going to get rid of him?
I mean, we'll get to that.
Helen, on your 75th playthrough of this game, did you pick someone on hard mode or your fan favorite?
I'm too busy being a student to have played this game for this podcast. I'm pretty sure last time I played this game, I played as Psyduck to put myself in hard mode. Because I know that Psyduck gets like a dog shit move pool or something. I think I might have
Sounds
similarly made my partner a Chikorita to put myself in hard mode.
Nice.
That is like the least like TV ready pairing of Pokemon. Imagine a series that's just all about Psyduck and Chikorita.
Just
Yeah.
two girls who can't do shit.
I'm shocked at like how awful this game would be if you had a grass type Pokemon. Like it's just like grass type. Fuck you.
Yeah,
Like
there
every
isn't
single
really-
every single thing, like all of the dungeons are like ice, fire, and flying bosses. You're just like, hey, get absolutely wrecked.
Which I was astounded. I went into this game totally blind last year, and I was like, I'm just gonna experience it as it comes. And then maybe after the second boss fight, I'm like, Jesus Christ, what am I doing? Like, I was just getting like bulldozed every time. So you've picked your partner, and you are greeted with a dialogue box of someone saying, "Hey, excuse me, you're awake. You're finally awake. Great!" And you're greeted by a talking Pokemon, the first time ever. And your player character is bemused. You're like, "What? A talking Pokemon?" And your partner's like, "Well, yeah, you're a Pokemon too, aren't you?" And you're like, "No, I'm a human." And before you have any time to kind of settle your differences with your partner, a Butterfree comes in and says, "It's horrible. My poor baby, my Caterpie, is fallen into a cavern. I need help, please." And your partner says, "That sounds bad. We have to go help." And you're thrust into your tutorial dungeon. You're very nice 3-floor tutorial dungeon with your little pop-up saying like, "Hey, here's how food works. Here's like you go and pick up an item, and this is how this thing works." And you're bulldozing over wormples and other things along the way. And you come to your first rescue team success by coming coming to. I gotta say, like the little crying Pokemon portraits just kill me in this game. I'm just like, oh my God, I can't. It's a crying Caterpie that says, "Where, mommy, where are you? Sniffle." And I'm just like, oh God, like I am such a softie for this universe, and
It fucking rules.
I'm seeing a crying Caterpie, and I'm just like, please don't do this to me. So you warp with the Caterpie out in some sort of like
Don't do this to
teleportation
me
beam.
sums up a lot of the story. I mean, like what? How does this game have its hooks in me, just pulling on my heartstrings constantly?
Well, you rescue the Caterpie. The Butterfree says, "I don't know how I could ever repay you properly." That's okay. There's been a lot of dangerous fissures and earthquakes lately. But you get a little screen that pops up says that's when your hero and your partner began their careers together, and you go take a nap, and you're very like the pixel art in this game is incredible. I feel like you're waking up every day in like this little thematically appropriate for your Pokemon's type rescue team base, which you would think there would be other people there, but it's just you hogging up this enormous, cavernous mansion of yours. With me, with like Totodile, there was like waterfalls and like a little pool to wade in, and Bulbasaur's got this big like grass mat and little berries, and just like there's an amazing amount of detail for a Game Boy game. In these, like all the sprite work in this is just amazing. But you wake up and you're thrust into your next adventure. A pair of Magnemites come up and say, "Help! We need help. One of our trio, our throuple, has been lost." And you go into the 6th floor Thunderwave cave to go and save them. And it's another real easy adventure. And then this is where it starts to ramp up the incredibly childish easy difficulty just a little bit. Where next you are greeted by a Doug trio that says, "Oh, our poor baby Diglett has been lost somehow up at the top of Mount Steel, the 9-floor dungeon." You make your way up there, and you are greeted with your first boss fight. And I thought, and again, like the art to this game, I think is great. The music, I think, for this game is great too. And this is where you get your first boss theme battle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's good. That's it.
We're before
I'll go ahead and throw that in
oh,
there.
Man.
All the music is just, it grates.
Will, you're gonna get off ratioed left, right,
I
and
think
center
this
here.
guy needs to be put on a list.
I'm gonna speak my truth, okay?
I mean, it's a very subjective thing, but this music is great.
No, it's terrible. There's
we
not
get-
any
I'm
jazz.
somewhere
There's
in
no
the middle.
bebop in it
Oh my
whatsoever. I
God.
knew every note that was going to happen before it happened. That's how bad it is.
Will's character is coming up here in a minute, but we rescue Diglett.
No, because a woman has to like that character.
So we beat a Skarmory who is protecting the poor baby Diglett. And we bring Diglett back, and Magnemite says, "Oh, we love working with you. We want to join your team." And it's funny that they're like yelling at you in all caps, but I believe it's supposed to be robot voice. But they say, "Oh, too bad. Sorry, we can't join you. See you, buzz, 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 buzz," which I thought was really funny. And so your partner leads you into Pokemon Square and kind of introduces you to all the NPCs and all their functionality and stuff. One of which is Wigglytuff, who has this deranged, like wide eye stare of. I played like the first like 10 minutes of Explorers of Time, and I'm just like, you're greeted with like this flaming Jigglypuff like tribal hut, and I'm like, it was there all along. Like that dead-eyed stare was hiding some kind of
Explorers Time is the next one or another one in the series?
That's the next game, yeah.
Okay.
That's
Or
one of the
it's-
versions.
Technically, it would be, I guess, like I've been recommended to like we would do Explorers of Sky next because it's like it's the definitive version, effectively. But yeah, so it's like rolling Time and Darkness into one game, so you don't have like the egregious Pokemon splitting stuff. But so you're introduced, and Wigglytuff says like, "Oh yeah, you have to buy friend zones in order for your friends to come live in. This is something that I believe was fixed in the later games because like it's a tedium. But
They're so
Magnemite,
pretty.
yeah. So like
I just
They
wanted to be
are
able to buy.
so pretty.
I wanted to buy the friend zone after I caught the Pokemon, not have to buy them and then hope that you met the Pokemon that you bought the zone for.
Yeah, that's a little
I
annoying. Also, I just assumed that like buying the zone would unlock it, and then I could go and
Yeah.
like get some good ass Pokemon. So I
The
like
first time I
spent the
went to a
most
zone-
money on the most expensive place, and I think it's only in the post game. I don't even know what the deal is. So these zones, which you have to go and visit to go and get your teammates to put them in your team before you go off on an adventure, are very atmospheric, and again, they're great examples of like how good this game looks, and the atmosphere that can be achieved with relatively rudimentary tools and technology. These friend zones are so good, in fact, that when they remastered this in 3D, they didn't even bother remaking them. Because my theory is because they're like, well, we can't recreate this greatness.
Well, but I
No,
think
obviously
they
it was
did
too
just
difficult, or it was too much work, so they said, cut it.
I mean, I think that they like turned them into still images, though, which is the remake is bad. Let's just put it out there. The remake has a lot of problems, but like, because they have a lot of them have like little moving details in them. Like if you're in like the water
Interesting.
one, like there's like pond ripples and stuff, and I think they just like turned them into PNGs for the.
I see. But they did not bother to put in the work to render them in 3D like the rest of the remake.
Yeah, I mean the friend area is weird because yeah, like you go into the dungeon, you bludgeon a Pokemon to death, and then it's like, I'd love to join you on your adventure. And then when you leave the dungeon, it is sent to these zones where they're just kind of like
Sent to a
dopely
zone.
walking around, and then like you can go and check up on them, and it'll have like little funky dialogue that says like, it appears to have been worried, but seems to have solved it. I'm just like, okay, sure.
See-
But anyway, so you do a couple rescue missions. You come back into town, and there's a Jumpluff, a Pokemon that I'm not familiar with, but just has this wretched look on its face. Jumpluff is Gen 2. Helen is gesturing here, which is weird because like yeah, I don't know. It
You
feels
don't
like
remember Jumpluff?
I don't know what the Japanese name is. It maybe anyway. Just has this like awful look on its face, and I'm just like, my heart is killing me here, of like, please help my friend,
Feel
please, I
nothing.
need help. And this douchey Shift Tree, who I think is like a half tree Pokemon, says, "Forget it, chump. We're not about to work for that." And another Pokemon in the square is like, Jumpluff's been begging for help, but I feel just so bad for them. And then your Omega Cool Kid team rolls on in. Team
Yeah.
ACT.
Ooh. Now, up to this point in the game, I felt like I had evolved past. That I'd matured in some way, or lost my childlike wonderment, sense of wonder. I thought I was immune to this Pokemon stuff. But as soon as Alakazam comes walking in, I was like, yo, it's Alakazam and his fucking badass team of big dick swinging pokey dudes. This is awesome. And it's also what? Charizard? He's got 120 HP, y'all. And then some other dude that I don't recognize.
Tyranitar, the obviously the best of the three.
I mean, yeah, he's super cool.
Like literally is very good.
Oh, good to know.
Better than Charizard.
So yeah, the coolest Pokemon rescue team around makes an entrance into the town square.
They roll on up, like the marshals of town that they are, and Alakazam says, no need for thanks. It's only natural that you get the help that you need. And if anyone turns you down again, come see me. Take care.
Hold on. For Andrew's context, Tyranitar doesn't evolve until level 55.
Wow.
It's a fucking beast.
To be clear, I didn't recognize him, but like just the sprite, I'm like, yo, this guy looks cool. Also, he's rolling with Alakazam and Charizard. He's serious business, heavy outfit.
And all of the Pokemon in the Pokemon Square are like also aghast. They're like, I wouldn't expect anything less from a gold rank rescue team. Like you're rolling into this game at like F tier dog shit rank, and this gold rank crew just rolls on up. They're like, "Hey, you need help? You come to us. Don't even worry about it." So like you and your partner are like, "Oh, well, that was a lot for the day. Let's go home. Let's get some rest." And this is where you have one of your dream sequences where you are visited by. I was not familiar with this Pokemon. I wasn't sure if it was a Pokemon or some other like weird sprite ghost where I was just like, I don't know what this thing is, but it is like blinking in and out, and then you're like, what? A human? My role? And then wait, no, come back, and then the dream fades. And this is something that we'll encounter a few times in the story here. But the second you leave, you're like, all right, your partner's like, all right, you ready to go and do some more rescue team fun? And then who shows up but the polar opposite of Team ACT, Team FU, I guess. Gengar, Medicham, and Ekans roll on up and they say, we're the rescue team of evil. Team Meanies is who we are. And the like if Gengar had a 10-foot wide mustache, it would be fully twirled at this point. And yeah, all subtlety has flown out the window at this point. Ekans says, you want to know how it works? If we have the cover of a rescue team, maybe we can get away with so much more. And Medicham says, we have our eyes on world domination. Which I was just like, okay, sure. I don't know what they're dominating, but they steal all of the rescue team letters out of your mailbox, like the meanies that they are. And your partner says, they took off. What an unbelievable bunch. Ugh. So anyway, you're taking up your next task of rescuing a Metapod. Caterpie's best bud has gotten lost in the sinister woods, so you have to traverse this 13-floor dungeon to get up to the top. And who would you find but Team Meanies waiting
I'm sorry.
for you?
Sorry, this is very important. This is there is some exploitation. There is some blackmailing of sorts that happens before this mission. And like leading up this, okay, you're like maybe a couple hours into this game, and like initially, I gotta tell you, the gameplay, like how easy the first part of it is, was really rough on me. And then until I realized slash the game reminded me slash maybe taught me like how to favorite moves and how to link moves, which makes the actual combat much more engaging. A little bit more like a beat 'em up kind of, in that like you're sort of, you know, making decisions about what attacks you're using, and it was instantly much more engaging when those things were unlocked. I was not having an amazing time, but it started building a little bit, and then the act team shows up, and I was obviously completely starstruck by them. This mission, though, the excitement and the motivation for me really just went off the charts, because the meanies, they show up, and it's like Caterpie's like, yo, my sibling Metapod, which is a pod, somehow went and got lost in the woods. Don't know how that happened. Doesn't matter. Will you help me? Like, and then the meanies show up and they say, no, we're gonna take this job, and once we find Metapod for you, you're gonna owe us money. And Caterpie is like, I don't have any money. I'm a bug. They're like, well, don't worry about it, kid. I'm sure your parents will pay us, lots of money, and they're gonna pay interest too. So it's a race to see who can get to Metapod, save Metapod, but also save Caterpie and his family from a life of criminal exploitation. And I was like so ready to go. I'm like, yo, fucking go get Magmite. We got to get the crew together. We got to roll heavy, get our shit linked, and let's ride. And I was like so excited. Oh. And that storyline motivation really amped up what the Sinister Woods, maybe not the most amazing mechanical experience, but when you have like the context and that motivation of that storyline, I was in like Flynn.
Whereas this is where my frustration with the fact that you couldn't click A to make the text go faster started really kicking in. Like, I mean, I'm glad, Andrew, I'm so glad that you enjoyed this, but like, I could not care.
I held that B button down. I don't know. I don't know what button it is actually but I'm just, yeah. A story, like, lore, skip.
It's fine. It's fine. It's not bad. I just don't
It's
care
bad. No, it is
that
bad.
much.
It's really bad. It's
No, I
really,
mean, it's not any worse.
really bad. It's
This
really
not
bad.
any
guy's
worse.
like, I
It's
didn't
not
read
any
it, and I
worse.
didn't like it because I didn't read it. I didn't
No,
like the children's story that I
slowed down.
didn't
Okay,
read. This
I
picture
slowed down.
book that I couldn't be bothered to read
I
sucks.
slowed down. I read some of this shit, and then I realized this is absolute garbage. And you see it as it's flying by. I'm not incapable of reading at the speed that it like prints it out, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is the worst fucking story I've ever read in my life.
I think it's fair
Oh
to
my
say
god,
that
oh my god.
I think it's fair to say that this game has an intended target audience,
Yeah.
and Will is about
Not
outside of
37-year-old guys. Yeah, no.
about outside of that orbit as physically could be as the universe would allow.
I mean, I think the question comes
Lacking
down
empathy.
to are we reviewing this as a game that were you to hand me this game as it was not a Pokemon franchise game and it had been created in 2025, would I play this game? Versus was it an excellent game for the audience of the time? And I feel like we might get some different opinions on the game quality based off of how nostalgic we feel about it.
Now,
And-
never heard about this game
Well-
until we did this. I've
Well-
never heard about it.
Colin, you were handed Shiren the Wanderer, and you didn't like that. So I think
I didn't.
we have our answer.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the other problem is too. Like, I didn't particularly like Shiren the Wanderer, and this game is Shiren the
It's
Wanderer
the same.
with more palatable. I mean, significantly. Like, I know Will might go off on the like graphics and stuff. Like, I did find it to be like I thought they were well done. I thought the sprite art all quite good. You know, like I think that some of the UI aspects of it was rough. Like, but you know, I'll give it some passes. It's an older game.
there's a lot of like JRPG bullshit of just like
Yeah.
you don't need like 75 menu button presses. Like these
I
were
love
things that were solved
menus.
long before 2005.
Well, but were they solved for handheld? That's the other thing too. Is I'm playing this on a 34-inch ultra wide monitor sitting at my computer. Like, if I was playing this on the 5-hour road trip that we would do every year to visit my grandparents, like that is a very different experience.
yeah.
Like even now today, like playing it as a phone game, I think would be a different experience because it's like, oh, the form factor is
and crucially there are NDS emulators on smartphones that you can put on, which like very like the form factor looks like it works very well for like that stacked screen experience and just has like the UI buttons on it. And particularly I think because it's turn-based, like you don't have to worry about being like really on it in terms of response time. But yeah, like I did basically all of my gaming on the Steam Deck, and
Yeah.
There you go.
great
There you
after
have it.
that.
And in the same way that this game was made, a particular time for a particular audience, it was made for a particular set of hardware, which was handheld, which was portable, and I couldn't quite simulate that because I was a little bit behind the ball and I started the game like a week late. But what I was at least able to do was I was able to achieve playing the game on my couch. I like spun one of my monitors around and like did it vertical so I could get the DS double screen stack, and I ran a big long USB cable, and that was nice. The next time we cover one of these games, I'm definitely going to get this set up for portable. And I will admit that part of my excitement and my attention just being totally reeled in and me just being locked in on this mission to go and rescue a fucking cocoon with eyeballs that that people make dick jokes about because it's one of its abilities harden was fueled by nostalgia. But I would also argue that like this game presents a world and a selection of characters that is charming, and you're kind of brought into it. And by the time you've played it, for several hours and you've gotten to this point, you have kind of become accustomed, and you have come to sort of understand and appreciate the stakes and the tone of the game. Yes, part of it is nostalgia, but I think another part of it is that the game really like sells the vibe.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm definitely in the middle between the two ends of this camp, the Will disgust camp and the rest of the podcast love camp, where it's like it neither. I appreciated the nostalgia, but it's not like driving me forward of like, yes, I'm so excited to race in quotes to find Metapod because one, it's not actually a race. Like you can dick around as much as you want. Uh, there's no time limit here.
Well, of course
Uh,
I knew that, but as
This
gamers,
guy hates fiction
we
so
are
much.
accustomed to suspending our disbelief a bit. And anyway, sorry to interrupt, Scott. So we went off into the
Yeah,
woods. I apologize. You're of course the Omega host. But how in depth are we going through this storyline?
I mean, like dungeon wise, we're like halfway through the game. Surprisingly,
Yeah, it's not that long. Can I interrupt again, real quick though?
Yes.
Who did not finish the game? Is it just Colin, or did other people not finish the game?
You finished the game is the question.
Who finished the game? Andrew.
I mean, yeah. What? Yeah. Uh-huh.
It's
that time.
Interesting. Interesting.
Wait, how far did you get? Give us a.
Check it out. When we're going through the story, when we get to where you stopped, I need you to reveal. I need you to confess.
No. All right, look. Here's the deal. I'll just tell you right. I was gonna launch into my bit, but we'll save that for later. So we got to go to Andrew needs to tell the truth bit. All right. So I thought this game was shorter than it was. And I started it late and I was at a convention this weekend and it started excuses. Hey, look, bottom line is I tried my best. All right. I tried my best. and this afternoon I was on the final fucking dungeon and this game can be a little swingy. And suddenly my Totodile named Andrew, because I'm in the game, which we all know I love a game where you yourself are a character. Like when you're the commander, in XCOM or you're, the chancellor or whatever in the Protoss campaign of StarCraft. So this is great. Loving the integration of the player as a character. I got one-shotted and I was like, well, fuck, there's literally no time. I'm at the very end. I'm going to go watch on YouTube what happens. And even though I was watching the ending boss fight and ending cutscene on YouTube with the wrong names and the wrong characters and the wrong sprites, it was so effective. I think this is a really great and well done piece of storytelling. I'm very impressed by this game. Very impressed.
All right. So anyway, back to the silent chasm. Of our story. Well, I'll turbo along here because there's a lot to it. There's a lot of dialogue, but we'll try to hit the main points here. So Jumpluff comes back to you and says, oh, my friend hasn't been rescued yet. Shiftery went after him, but no one's seen him in days. So you go to the Silent Chasm 9th-floor dungeon here. You find Shiftery like passed out at the end. He's like, "Oh, forget about me. Go on without me." And then like this what to do. One of these like dope like cutscene sequences where like the lights it goes like pitch black and it starts like flashing like, and then like this like Zapdos descends from nowhere and you only see like flashes of them at first. You're just like, holy shit. And it's just like, he dared disturb my sleep. I have no mercy for you meddlers, and that includes you. I am Zapdos, the embodiment of lightning. And I'm just like way back in my chair of like, oh shit, am I gonna have to fight him like right now? And he says, well, if you want to save Shiftery, you got to go all the way up to Mount Thunder to fight me. So you save this dopey looking Jumpluff, and like the sprites for these things are just so stupid and charming looking, where they're just like these like, I don't know, cotton balls with smiley faces on them, and just like the emotional whiplash you get of like, I was just accosted by this legendary Pokemon, and then now these little tumbleweeds are thanking me. So anyway, like you go to Mount Thunder, your first 13th-floor dungeon, which has a little bit of like a checkpoint break period towards the end, which is nice because, at least for me, I was getting bodied by Zapdos a couple times and I had to restart from save states, but in theory, you wouldn't have to go all the way back at the beginning. I'm on a tight deadline here. So your partner is like, you don't scare me, legendary Pokemon, and it's just like cowering behind you and like shaking back and forth. Like the animation is great for like conveying all these hilarious emotions and stuff.
And you've got all these different variations of your partner Pokemon's expressions, facial expressions, and everything. It's all very cutesy, all very anime.
It's
So
a
anyway,
baby. Your partner's a baby, though. It's
well,
a
you're a baby
character.
So are you.
I got a stomach ache. I can't fight those.
You're a baby too. You're supposed to be playing this when you're 7 years old, and it just came out.
Right, and I'm 30 years beyond that, which is the problem here. And
Old man.
you are all adults. You should feel the same way, mind you. So I
man.
find this highly unusual that you are all like, oh, the story is so compelling. No, it's not. It's not. It absolutely isn't. And if you think otherwise, you're a bad person. You're a bad adult.
Well,
All I gotta say is you better watch what you say about Pika Pig. He is my best friend, my dearest friend, and a friend like no other. And just, I mean, oh.
So you body Zapdos eventually by abusing sleep seeds and finding out that your orbs don't work eventually,
Yes.
and then Shiftry
Right.
comes back and Team ACT rolls up out of nowhere and says, we had our suspicions. Perhaps you're not a Pokemon, are you? Even though you were running around saying you were not a Pokemon. Alex Sam tasks you with going and meeting Xatu, the Pokemon that stares at the sun all day, which is great for his eyes.
The wisest of the Pokemon.
The
yes.
wisest. The Great Canyon with great background music. 13 floors. You go.
Helen,
meet them.
this is the point that I got to. So there you go.
Oh
Oh
man,
my
you
god!
didn't even
Like
get
3
to...
hours? What?
Yeah,
Look,
you
My
know,
man's been sick. It's the holidays.
No, I have
Oh.
no excuse.
I mean, it's fine to like a game. It's fine to not like a
Bro.
game. It's fine to complete a game you hate and then go on a podcast
Scott,
and hate it.
Until Scott starts paying me. Helen, you have the disadvantage of you've came on 2 podcasts and they've both been the same game. So and they've both been a game genre that I have not ended up liking. So until Scott starts paying me, I'm gonna stop playing when I'm not having fun.
I'm
Colin,
losing it.
I'm
This
telling
is
you.
very funny to me.
I'm telling
but
you,
you are
the
wrong.
Renegade Fugitive arc is like
I watched
peak.
the video. I watched the video, so I know what happened in the rest of the plot.
you got your
Goodness.
briefing in.
Yeah.
So you talk with Xatu, the wise, unblinking, staring Pokemon. And all day I stare at the sun unblinking. Gives me sight for all things. He says as he pulls out his walking cane because he's blind. But anyway, you talk with him about you have a special role to serve here, and you are in fact a human, and all these disasters have been happening and all that kind of stuff. And then who should be listening to eavesdropping? But one Gengar of Team Meanies, and he says, "Haha, this is going to be useful." You go back in town and you learn more about this Ninetales legend, and you go and talk to Wishcast, this dopey Pokemon who's the lore master who tells the old folklore. And this is kind of like the major thrust of the story to the game is like that there was a human who had a Pokemon that was a Gardevoir that they encountered a Ninetales, and the human grabbed the Ninetales' tails and I guess was cursed. And but when the curse was cast, the Gardevoir said, "Get down, Mr. President," and jumped in front and took the curse blast instead. And then I guess the human abandoned the human abandons the Gardevoir and is still cursed anyway.
I want to note this is a 1,000-year curse. That's what the lore is. So Ninetales, apparently, in this universe, are capable of doling out 1,000-year curses.
I mean, isn't that the actual Ninetales legend? Like
It's
Ninetales
absolutely
is
absurd.
Ninetales is like a Japanese kaiju Pokemon.
Yeah, it's
or
like
whatever.
kitsune yokai stuff.
Yeah,
Oh,
yokai.
that,
That's the
I got
word.
that. Yeah, no, I know what that is.
So anyway, why would that Pokemon Gardevoir take the human's place? Well, that the legend goes that human will one day be reborn as a Pokemon, and the world's balance will be upset. That is how the legend ends, says Wishcast. And so your partner is like, "Wow, that was kind of a lot. I can't seem to be motivated. Let's go tuck in for the day." And then just basically like apologizing, like, I'm so sorry. So the next morning you wake
That
up.
happens at the end of like every mission, which is so relatable. I love that, that your partner, after you do one mission and like that's it, it's like,
I'm white.
yo, didn't we do great today? I'm tired. Let's get some rest. And that's how I feel like anytime I'm doing like a project around the house. It's like it could be like 1:30 p.m. and like, oh well, I finished refinishing this 3 by 3 foot section of the floor. All right, well, didn't we do good, team? Let's go to bed in our totodile hut. So anyway, yeah,
I like how that happens.
motivated.
Even if you're like, I'm going to go to the tiny woods, like
Yeah.
3 floors, crushed everything in one hit. Like, oh, big day, boys.
Puckered.
Didn't we do good?
Nice work out
We
there.
absolutely did.
So you come into Pokemon Square, and who is there but Gengar spreading misinformation and
False news,
slander,
fake news,
that
lies, conspiracy.
that I don't think the human can complain about anything if we get rid of it. Isn't that right, player character? And then the Bellsprout says, "Yeah, it was you," and your partner's like, "Whoa, well, wait a minute. There's a good explanation for all this." And that's how it is, fellow Pokemon. Me, Gengar, listen to me.
Because it was established in the future seeing of the Pokemon that stares into the sun that the appearance of this human in Pokemon form is linked directly to the increase in natural disasters. So the human is in some way related, and so of course Gengar is spinning it as well, it's clearly the human's fault.
And your partner Pokemon is sticking up for you hardcore here. Like, what's gotten into you, everyone? And then the Lombre attacks you. Just like the townsfolk are just starting to like beat you up. So you run away. You run back. And who should show up at Team ACT? Who says, Alakazam himself says, we've arrived at a consensus. We must get rid of you. Children's game. And Team ACT says, okay, well, now you're being hunted. We're going to give you a 24-hour head start.
Yeah, because Alakazam is like such a pal. He's like, I am, he's got an IQ of 5,000. He knows everything that's ever happened. That's what they say in the game. He is such a bro that like, he is bound by honor. He must dispatch this horrible demon walker, this human.
He's just following orders
in Pokemon form, but he wants to give you a chance. Just get out of here. You better run as far away as you can. You got till morning.
He knows that you're innocent, but he's willing to follow the will of the people and still hunt you to death.
Yeah, this is awesome. And we got good music, and we got great effects and fun sprite work going on. And it's like the Warriors. It's like, you got to get back to Coney Island. You got to get the fuck out of here, because every Pokemon rescue team in New York City is coming with broken bottles and crowbars to come and kill you.
Yeah, Alakazam says, what does he say? Come tomorrow, rescue teams of all sorts will take up the chase and attack you without hesitation. That goes with anyone, like any allies that come with you will be considered an enemy. The trackers will attack without mercy. That goes for us too. We will join the hunt to be rid of you. Children's game. So your partner's like, in their own way, Alakazam's team has faith in you too. They're going to give you a head start. They're going to like come at you with their full force and all that stuff. And the Caterpie you've saved is like, yeah, you can do it. I think you're innocent, but I'm still going to hunt you down too. Why not? And the Jumpluff is like, we'll be waiting for you to return, kind of stuff. And then you get your white on black text that says, thus began you and your partner's cruel and arduous journey as a fugitive.
An insane message that I never in my wildest dreams would have imagined I'd seen in a Pokemon game. Yeah. These story sequences are incredible.
So you are chased basically across like the overworld to various dungeons, and you come across
beautiful sprite work of the landscape, the horrible like Mordor-like landscape that you and your buddy Sam and Frodo are making their way over the hellscape, being chased by the mobs.
This could be like easily reskinned into like a Lord of the Rings like Frodo and Sam game that like totally. I'd be like, yeah, I'd be on board for that. So yeah,
But it doesn't make any sense. Let's just stop here for a second and say this doesn't make any fucking sense at all. Because if any of these stupid fucking Pokemon stopped and say, hey, what's your side of the story? No, it's all, we believe Gengar, right? It's so fucking.
I mean, I know. Can you imagine a world where people just like find the first thing that they find on the internet to be true, and then that's the truth that they roll with for the rest of their lives? Imagine a world that like. It would be so fantastic.
These are your friends. These are the people you talk to with in town. You're like, you know each other, and suddenly they're like, hey, I'm gonna punch you in the face. And they acknowledge as they're doing it. I'm like, I don't know if I should be doing this, but and it's just like, This
I
this
have-
is the
But
worst
Scott-
fucking
Ooh.
plot I've ever seen. It's terrible. It's
But you
absolutely
haven't
terrible.
at this point. You have admitted that you are a human in disguise. You are some sort of creature that's been transmogrified into a Pokemon.
Yeah, like
Right.
your player
You're
character.
obviously like a skinwalker at this point.
And the connection between that and the events are what? They're hearsay. The all the quakes.
Well, you
and the
don't
natural
deny
disasters.
it fast enough.
It's okay.
I've
So
played enough mafia games or werewolf games. You got to deny that quickly and hard. Be like, there no way I'm a Pokemon.
all right, let's boil this all down. The plot
Gengar's obvious. Gengar's a
yeah,
ghost.
so moving along, you know, you're chased throughout
Are we
the
going
world.
through the entire plot? I'm gonna have to stop. Scott, I've typed to you. But
We're
I need
we're
to know.
well, okay, so hang on. We're getting pretty close to the end here. There's
This is like the very
We're not.
beginning of the game, as far as I remember.
We are not getting close.
That's not true. This is like most of the game.
All right,
This
all
is
right,
most of the
Okay,
game.
because I'm
So-
not gonna sit here
All right,
through
well,
this entire
I'll
thing. I'm gonna
stop
leave.
interjecting and gushing about these sequences that I think are so well crafted.
Yeah, so I won't go through all 15 floors of
Thank
Mount
you.
Blaze here, but you get up to the top, you defeat Moltres, you after that go and defeat Articuno in the 20-floor Frosty Forest, where this I thought was like the shittiest boss fight of the game, because I was rolling up with a Totodile and a Bulbasaur, and Articuno has this bullshit like global like snow attack that crits both of my characters at the same time. And again, like this was something that like I probably could have been a little higher leveled for, but like this crucially, like you're on the run from your Pokemon town, so you can't like access your storage. You have no money. Like the only real thing that you can do is kind of grind these little mini dungeons at the bottom of like these 30 or these 20-floor super dungeons. And like that's the best you got because you're on the run. Like you have no access to like any of your stuff. Like all of your orbs, all of your seeds, all of your items are just like kaput at that point. So you're like, this is where it feels like you really have to engage with the systems of the game and really have to like, all right, what am I going to procure along the way? How can I use this to my advantage? That was the only way I could beat Articuno, which felt like a massive like step up in difficulty for me. And I also didn't realize that Bulbasaur had sleep powder the whole time and like would have just like bodied the boss for me like no problem. And I'm just like, well, that would have been great to know like 5 hours ago. But so you beat Articuno, and then a Pokemon Absol joins your path, which kind of fell flat for me a little bit. I'm like, I have no idea who this is.
What? Oh, I thought that was great. I thought that was dope.
You know, do they talk about Absol's deal? I can't remember.
I don't think so. They're just like, I will join you in your cause. And
No, no,
that's
no,
great.
no.
So Absol's thing is that Absol is like an omen Pokemon that shows up when like a disaster is going to happen.
Okay, that makes
So-
more sense in that
Well,
context.
There's
So
a little
Absol
bit of
joining
dialogue.
you during this is very funny.
It's quick, but there's a couple bits of dialogue where like specifically Absol is like, who I named Absalom, like says like, yo, I can detect natural disasters or things like that. And like as you start the dungeon, like you see him for a minute and then darts off very mysteriously and then shows up and like again, a well done sequence where it's like the Pokemon decides to join your team and it again really worked for me. He's like, I have decided. He's like, I go out and I must stop these natural disasters, and I hear that you have been linked to them. I have decided. ... We should join forces. I'm like, oh yeah, let's go. Come on.
Because this is like the only time that you can get people or other Pokemon added to your party also. So if
It's
you
true.
are,
That was also there was also an exciting element to that as well.
Yeah.
And
so you're on your way to on another mountain path, and you get a vision from the Gardevoir ghost again, who says you got to go to Uproar or Mount Freeze, and you got to seek the Ninetales up at the top, a 20-floor dungeon. You make your way through these icy biomes, and you get up to the top, and what should be there but Team ACT waiting for you? And you're like, oh shit. Me, my little baby Pokemon and my little baby Pokemon partner and Absol just gonna have to like fight to the death against the gold rank super team. And just as you're about to like start going toe to toe, who comes in? But it says cease this at once, and then in flies the Ninetales sprite into the heat of battle, catching everyone off guard. And then they say that yes, I am indeed the one from the lore. And then they say to your player character, you may relax. It's not you. And then your little partner does this hilarious like little dance around you of just like, yay, I'm so excited. I knew it. That's great. Hooray. And then Tyranitar says, oh, we're sorry. We got worked up by that Gengar. Charizard says, no, I suspected Gengar from the start. The player character doesn't just look like the treacherous type to me, as he says with a shit-eating grin on his face. But the earthquakes keep happening, and Ninetales says, well, these earthquakes are going to awaken the beast that embodies the ground, the beast that sleeps deep underground. Groudon will be awakened. And Alex says, what? Groudon is rising? So they volunteer to go deal with this, and I'm just like, at this point, again, I have no idea what a Groudon is. I'm just like, is this some sort of like Magma spirit? I guess a Gen 3 Pokemon. And
It's one of the Gen 3 legendaries, right?
yes.
Yeah, it's one of the two or one of the three box arts. It's Kyogre and Groudon are like sea and land, and then Rayquaza is sky and is the third game.
Yeah, I didn't know what the heck this Pokemon was either. But the game establishes, like, yo, this is a big deal. This is like the Tarrasque, like, waking up, like, yo.
What does that mean?
Don't worry about it.
The sprite is literally larger.
Yeah, he's a big chunky boy. So you come back to you. Alakazam sends a Pelipper letter back into town, and you eventually come back, and the town greets you with, "Oh, we knew you were good the whole time, and I always believed in you." Blah blah blah. And Shiftry comes and says, "I was saved," but like all the characters that you've saved in your journey so far, like thank you so much for helping us. We knew you were innocent this whole time. Get out of here, Gengar. You and you Team Meanies. And they're kind of kicked out of town. And all those shopkeepers that you interact with after the fact are like, we promise we won't make the same mistake again. Please. They don't give you anything for free, but
no.
But then like the plot kind of grinds to a halt here. And this is like the part where I have the biggest problems with the story myself, where like at this point I could see how you could be like, all right, the game is done. Like, that's it, right? And then you go through this, like, I think super tedious, like three times through having to go through this 10-floor uproar forest to get Mankeys their chestnuts, which
peeled chestnuts.
Peeled chestnuts. And the first time I did this, I accidentally peeled it myself, thinking like, oh, I got to peel it first and then give it to them because they want unpeeled chestnuts. I unpeeled it and then I consumed it, and then I had so I had to do it 4 times.
That's unfortunate.
Which was
so I lucked out with this dungeon in that I picked up the necessary number of chestnuts the first time through and just had them on hand. So
wait, so you can pick
good
up
RNG.
One?
Yes.
Interesting.
Kinder
I thought it was
goated.
always,
Thank
I
you.
thought it was always on the 9th or 10th floor.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't get good RNG in other parts of the game, but that it worked out quite nicely. Yeah, the main plot kind of screeches to a halt, but I appreciate it when a game gives you permission to go do side quests, and this is like a good opportunity to go do bulletins, because it kind of feels bad and kind of strains your suspension of disbelief when you're playing like an open world game and there's some really important driving main quest. But your character's fucking off and collecting Nernroot,
I mean, this is a game about being a child, but it's also a game about having a job. And I can think of another Nintendo DS game, Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days. Great title. That also Andrew's laughing. That also did a similar thing of kind of like narrativizing video game tedium as you doing your job. And I don't know, I think it's kind of cute to have like an interlude where you just like go back to work, like you're just going back to doing gigs for a little bit.
I would be more okay with this sequence if it was just like, oh, you can go like just go and do like 3 random quests instead of like the very specific one for the Mankeys. If they were just like, yeah, we just need time to like, because what they're doing is they're rebuilding your Pokemon hut, and then by the time that they're done, it's for me it was in the shape of a big Totodile head.
Yeah,
but like it can be in the shape of a Bulbasaur or whatever your starter.
Yeah, they
is.
transform your HQ, which was pretty good looking to begin with, into a fursona head.
Yeah, so do they have 16 different head cues?
They have one for every character, yes. Yeah.
So anyway, you finish renovations there. You come back into town, and the earthquakes are getting worse, and everyone's trying to get all of the top tier rescue teams in. And there's a Scyther, there's a Pinsir, whatever the Chikorita final evolution thingy
All
is.
the stars are here because
It's
the
right
Axe
on.
Squad is missing.
Yeah, Team ACT is gone, and then well, as it so happens, who's going to step up to go and rescue them? Well, the rough Team Hydro's Roughneck Blastoise. You got Golem, and then you got the octopus thing that all team up. They're like, all right, we're gonna go in, we're gonna rescue them from the Magma Cavern. And then you come back a day later, and they're like, they're just like beaten up and dead in the Pokemon Square. It's like, oh, look, like
Their corpses have been hung on display in the main town square as a warning to the rest. No, yeah, they have gotten completely wiped.
they've been squad wiped, and who better at that point, once the most powerful Pokemon have failed, than for the little kids to band together with their the power of friendship and bubblegum and all the gummies that you've been eating from the dirt to boost your IQ, just like a good child would do. You volunteer for this suicide mission to go into the Magma Cavern to rescue Team ACT. And you show up, and it's just like pool. It's like you're effectively coming into Mount Doom. There's giant pools of lava
Indeed.
everywhere. And I like this is another case where like I really love how the sprite work changes as you go through the dungeon, where it starts off kind of like rocky. There's a few little magma spurts here and there, and by the end, it's just like full on like lower Norfair, just pure like demonic magma mayhem going on. But before you come to the main boss, you are coming into a room where like both Charizard and Tyranitar are like on their ass, passed out, and you're like, and Tyranitar says, Alakazam is still battling Groudon.
Still fighting, still battling him. So he's been like Gandalf dueling the Balrog for like days and days and days. And then when you come up and talk to him, your partner, in my case, Pikachu, says, Alakazam, are you okay? And I just imagined that line that Marcellus Wallace says in Pulp Fiction, I'm pretty fucking far from okay. Like he's just been locked in this.
Nah, dude, I'm
absolute
fine.
outrageous
Don't worry
melee.
about it.
Yeah.
So you go toe to toe with the Lord of the Earth itself, with Groudon, and like ironically, like all the boss fights post Articuno were kind of a cakewalk for me. I think maybe because I understood the game's systems better at that rate. But I you know, you roll through Groudon, you come back to Pokemon, or yeah, Alakazam sends a psychic message back to all the Pokemon. Or no, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. The Google Notes. You come back to Pokemon Square. Everyone at the same time gets a psychic message from Xatu. There's a meteor coming because we needed more plot stuff to shove into this game. Terrabolt is from the sky. Falls a star. It's a huge one, and then it cuts to this like giant like huge meteor. Then again, the sprite work is very good and foreboding here. This huge like screen shaking giant meteor coming in that you would think is going to impact the Earth in like at any second. But you have plenty of time to rest for the day, get psychically teleported with you and your partner up to the final dungeon.
And to be clear, it is established at this point that like this is the reason for the natural disasters, is this forthcoming giant. It's such a big meteor that it has to occupy the second screen on the DS, which like great use of the two screens. Indeed. So like the stakes are higher than they've ever been. There's been good payoff for the mystery of like what's going on with this whole situation. Like there's just lots of like cut and dry, nice, clean, good storytelling. Like the stakes are set up and and things are put into place and they are delivered upon. And it may seem like a simple thing, but a lot of games completely fuck it up.
Helen, your hand went up immediately when it said clean. Nice, clean.
No. I want to talk about the last dungeon. The last dungeon is like full of like some of the highest statted Pokemon that existed at the time in like Gen 3. Like, aren't there just Salamances like roaming around? Like, there's just like
sure
crazy like high statted Pokemon, and you're just killing.
So this is so this is Sky Tower. This is a 31 floor dungeon, the longest one of the game so far. That before that you are greeted by your final psychic vision with Gardevoir, who says, we sought out a hero, we searched, we couldn't find anyone, but we sought out a human to come and help solve with this problem here, and they're giving you like, hey, this is the final mission. Once you do this, you're going to have to part ways with your Pokepals, because there are encounters. There are also farewells.
Oh
So it's
man, who is the asshole that like snuck into my house and figured out exactly what to put in this 20-year-old game to like make me just like stop and groan and really suffer introspection. There's some legit good writing and good translation work here. I'm telling you.
I feel like they maybe should have led with the comet earlier instead of just being like, oh, by the way, there's these natural disasters. Oh, just kidding, it's because of Groudon. Oh, just kidding, it's because of this giant meteor in the sky. It felt like the writing team was just like, I don't know, let's just throw this in there. We got more stuff to do. But
I was specifically referring to the line about
yeah.
There are encounters and there are also farewells, which this has been weighing on my mind the entire game. I'm like, oh shit. Is this game gonna like make me choose like whether to stay here with my best pals in the world in the land of the Pokemon, which is like objectively better than real life in a lot of ways?
Well, you don't know. You don't know what your life was like as a human before. Maybe you had a great life.
Sure. I also appreciate that the game just comes
Maybe
out
you have
and
like
explains.
a wife and child waiting for you back home, and they were so sad because you got like skinwalkered into a Pokemon.
Well,
you canonically are a child in this, so if you had a wife and child back home, I think that would be
you're a very,
concern.
Very mature child.
Well, I read it differently.
6-year-old father.
Unlike some of the people on this podcast, I was able to, sit down, play this game, absorb it, understand what the world is, understand what the stakes are, understand what the vibe is, and also realize that I am a character in the game. So like the decision that I would be making whether to go back to real life is my actual life. Like I am one of the characters. And that's what I thought at first the game was angling for. And then I realized, oh no, wait, this is a 20-year-old game and it is also a children's game. So it's probably not gonna have some like weird existential adult decision at the end.
But I don't know. I feel like there's plenty of JRPGs that are just like, let's kill God now.
Yeah.
This is true.
Which is kind of what you do in this final dungeon. I think
most of them weren't released originally on DS though.
Yeah.
So what do you do in this dungeon, Scott?
The Sky Tower has the best music in the game by far. Dope music for the main dungeon. Even doper, like when you get like a main boss battle theme in a game and then it changes to like a unique boss battle theme at the very end. You're in for some deep shit. So you're progressing through this like super long dungeon where like you have this foreboding sense of like, this is it, like this is the last thing. And who up at the top do you find but none other than something that looks like it masters all the Dragon Balls, this giant serpent creature who's I guess the other legendary from the third gen, Rayquaza, who says prepare for the end, and the special boss music starts and he says he's just like, no, I'm not going to look up at this giant meteor right above my head. You're going to have to fight me to the death in order to convince me to like look 6 inches upward here. And then so you body him eventually by abusing sleep powder as you do. And then at the very end he says, all right, before I try to blow this meteor out of the sky, I got to know like your resolve. Where's your heart at? The star is too close now. If I loose my hyper beam here, you would not escape unscathed. So your partner's like, so we accepted that from the start. We've been on this suicide mission and ready to die to save Pokeland. And then Rayquaza says, take charge of your destiny, and then goes, Wah! And then like shoots this giant hyper beam up. Again, great use of the dual screen system here.
So dope.
Hyper beam up to like attack the meteor coming down. It blows up, and just before everyone is killed, Xatu and Alakazam psychically teleport you back to the Grand Canyon, where you're surrounded by all of your friends. You did it. You saved the Earth, Bruce Willis style, by blowing up the meteor. You didn't even have to sacrifice yourself this time with the drilling equipment. But there's like these little light sprites that start surrounding you, and you realize, well, it's time, and you say, Alex Sam is like, "Oh, it's time for you to go now, isn't it?" And you're like, "Yep." But you will always be my friend, partner Pokemon. And they're like the Parker partner Pokemon is just like bawling this whole time. Like the sad Poke portraits are just killing me, and I'm just like, it's like I was like losing a pet, or you're playing this game with like the effective mental capacity of like a golden retriever the whole time, and you're like, I'm sorry, buddy, it's time to go. And I'm just like, oh, you can't do this to me. This is terrible. I will never forget you. Don't go, partner Pokemon, just crying Pokemon. I'm blessed to have met you. What am I gonna do when you're gone, partner? I'm so sorry. This is
Yeah, at
goodbye.
one point your partner says, "Oh, but we're friends, aren't we? Like you can't go." And it's like, bro, I am. This is tearing me apart, Lisa.
Yeah. Like if this was coming, why didn't the player tell me? And then Alex Sam says these words couldn't be spoken. And then it kind of cuts to like you become stardust, you're floating among the stars, and the text comes back and says, "Your friend is heartbroken. A true friend, a friend for life." You finally realize it now. Your mission is accomplished, and you have ascended. You have become stardust. You're dead now. Congratulations. But if you wish, and you wish very strongly, perhaps you will meet again. And then with, I think, another kind of emotional rug pull to this game, your little light orb lands back in your little Pokemon square, and all the Pokemon are like, "Oh, you're back," and everyone gives you a big group hug, and you get a the end screen. It says the story of your player character and your partner ends here. Due to your heroic actions, the falling star was destroyed, and peace has returned to the world of Pokemon. And then you have 25 post-game optional dungeons that you can crawl through for 99 floors and fight all of the extra legendaries and complete all the story lore behind Gengar's quests and figuring out all the extra stuff that entails and reuniting with Gardevoir and all that extra stuff.
Hey,
But
I forgot that's not in the base
it
story.
should be, but it is not.
Well,
Anyway, so Gengar does get a resolution to their story arc with Gardevoir, but you have to go through like 3 or 4 different post-game dungeons in order to unlock that capacity. Uh, and that's kind of it. Like the post-game to this is kind of all over the place, just with like tons of stuff. Like if you engaged with the core tenets of the gameplay and stuff, then boy does it have it in spades at the end, because there's quests that you can do to go and I think effectively just add like more skulls to your collection, or partners to your friend areas, so to speak, by going and recruiting all the legendaries. And if you want that 1% chance of recruiting Mew and buying their friend area first beforehand, all those fun
What is
things.
what does a Mew friend area look like? Is it that truck?
true.
If only. But yeah, like on your load game screen, it'll show you like the legendaries that you've beaten and the ones that are in the post game. I did go through and I beat Kyogre in the Stormy Sea. I did do that post game dungeon, which I will say, like, for 40 extra floors of more dungeon crawling, pretty good. Like, it dials up the difficulty substantially. There's more bullshit traps, but there's a ton more items. There's a lot more Pokemon that I didn't see at all in the base game. They're kind of like all littered throughout all these post-game dungeons and things, but that's where Kyogre, Mew, Ho-Oh, Celebi, Lugia, Mewtwo, and Deoxys all are, and beating all of them just adds their little portraits to your load game screen if that's what you're into. Yeah,
You can't catch them. You can't get them on your team.
no, you
You
can, you
can.
totally
You
can.
can.
Oh, okay.
If you're willing to go through the painstaking, it's like, let's take Celebi for example. You got to go through the Solar Cave. You got to unlock the Southern Island Friend area. Then you got to go through the Northern Range dungeon to get to the Pitfall Valley dungeon. Then the Sky Blue Plains Friend area. Then you are faced with the Purity Forest 99 floor level 1 starting dungeon, which is just like, at that point you're literally playing like a traditional roguelike game in Pokemon format. You've had to jump through a lot of flaming hula hoops to get there, but I mean, Yeah. I think
Yeah.
the
How many hours in would you be at this point?
you would
A
probably be
lot.
like 20 or 30 hours.
Well, so if we had beaten Sheeran the Wanderer, we would have this as I can't talk. This is how Sheeran the Wanderer works. This is how Sheeran games work. Is in Sheeran games, the main story like has its own like story, and then once you beat the main game, you unlock a bunch of different dungeons in various ways and in various orders that each have like their own little mini story attached to them, and like because it's because it's Sheeran, like you might go into like the dungeon where everything starts at level 1, like the dungeon where it's like true roguelike, or you might have like the dungeon where you're meant to bring all your OP stuff because it's like set up that way, or you might have like dungeon with some gimmick, like only wacky gimmick guys show up or something, and each of those will have like usually will have like a little story when you unlock them, and then a story when you beat them, and so this setup in this game is almost exactly the same. I mean, like with the legendaries, really, like from what I remember, when you unlock one of the legendary dungeons, it's kind of like, oh, here's this thing, it's like, oh, well, Kyogre's out there, and you go beat it, and you go talk to Kyogre. But also a lot of the end game dungeons, like the crazy 99 floor ones, like are similar to, they're like analogs to the same type of end game content in Sheeran, where it's like,
I'm assuming you're like getting items throughout the dungeon that can like restore your PP. So you,
Yeah, like there's
Yeah.
max in some cases there aren't, and then you have to figure out like, well, I'm like I stepped on a trap and now like this move here
Yeah.
is like totally depleted, but like how do I play around that with like TMs that you pick up, and like your build is altering as
Yeah.
you go through the dungeon and things
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah. Having to like use worse moves, knowing that like you will level up later in the dungeon. And, it's like, well, I can use up my tackle PP because I'm going to replace tackle with something else.
oh yeah. Okay.
Also, for most of the endgame stuff, you can bring in whatever Pokemon you want. So like you can go do that as like Rayquaza or whoever you have if you want it. You can do that as the big boys.
Yeah, so
who are still big when you play as them.
Yeah, and the
Really?
Yeah.
They're just like, are their sprites like overlapping?
You can only take one. If you use a big ass boy, you can just only take that guy. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They
you
like
can't have like a squad of like 4 Onyxes right
no, yeah. They just like
Um,
take up more spots.
And this is so the post game dungeons, like your partner is like, you're back from the dead, hooray! I have an idea. What if we trade out team leaders now? And you're like, boy, I sure wish you came up with this idea earlier, so I didn't get bodied by type advantage. You can then like choose to be any Pokemon that you've recruited at that point. You can take Absol into whatever dungeon. You can take Charmander on whatever rescue quests you want to do. You can be a Magnemite. For God's
I'm assuming
sake.
you still need to have your Pokemon as part of the team.
No, you can go solo.
Oh.
Early in the post game, the story kind of like detethers from your two characters.
Okay, so you could be like, I am an Oddish. You just before random Pokemon that you've picked up along the way.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming at this point you've also evolved, or you've unlocked the ability to evolve your Pokemon.
Yes, I believe that is like specifically when it detethers is when you like unlock that.
I guess that makes sense because you're like not as you focus on your character is these two Pokemon.
Yeah.
Now
also,
it's
they
like,
don't like.
well, they're all just kind of teammates now.
Also, they only have a couple talk sprites for a lot of the Pokemon. I don't think every single Pokemon has like the like 20 or whatever that are base the various emotions that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
yeah, just 20 for all 301. How many Pokemon are there in this game?
I think there's like 380 something.
So that's a lot of content.
That is.
Are there all of the Pokemon from the first 3 generations in there?
There's all of the Pokemon from the first 3 generations, plus a couple cameos.
They just added some in for fun.
This is something that they like, I believe, only ever did between gens 1 and 2 and gens 3 and 4. And that was that they would have like little teasers. Like there was one Pokemon. Okay, I think it was the Lugia movie had like Lugia and like Dawn Fan show up in it. Like a couple Gen 2 Pokemon before they were like out anywhere else, just as little teasers.
Yeah.
So, like, Scott mentioned Lucario earlier. Lucario is kind of like this, like, mythological super rescue team. That's a Gen 4 guy. And, like, similarly, you can get a little, like, Weavile and Munchlax, like, trophy at your base. Those are more Gen 4 guys. Just, like, little, like, sneak peeks.
They just didn't feel like putting the whole gang in because it starts getting overwhelming.
What, all of Gen 4? Or
yeah.
Oh, I mean, those games weren't out yet. Diamond and Pearl weren't out yet when this came out. It came out before. So it was like, yeah. No,
so
it was
they
like,
really were like previews for the games in the future.
Yeah. It was kind of cute.
So in terms of the mechanics, I think this is one of those games where if the more you learn and like master all of the systems and understand what all the moves are and all the different types, like that it rewards that. But it does suffer a little bit from like, well, are you really going to invest that much time? Or if you're not like a super fan, so like it's a little tricky. But I found that like as the game went on, like I was enjoying it mechanically more and more.
How many characters are in all dungeons? One hit KO. What percent of your interactions were a one hit KO?
Maybe like 75% of the time.
Maybe 80.
Yeah, I was gonna say 90, 95%. It feels like was like I walk up to a thing. I do the thing, it dies, and that's the level of strategic and tactical awareness you need to have as a player.
And
Well,
I'm totally okay with that for the story mode because the post game dungeons are just like fuck you mode of like I went into the Kyogre dungeon thinking like, oh, this will be a piece of cake. I've been like one-shotting everyone this whole time, and I'm just getting like bodied by tentacles like level 1 on like the first floor of the dungeon. I'm like, yikes, okay, I was totally unprepared for this. And so I think like the post game stuff like really ramps up like the tactical decision making you have to do. Like I was just going through the Buried Relic dungeon, which is the one where you fight Mew in, but you got to do this other stuff. And like I'm just like okay, in order to do this, I have to like think like 3 moves ahead for this so I don't get paralyzed by that. And there's a lot more going on in that. So I kind of in that sense appreciate that the story mode does kind of like go easy mode and then like saves the sicko mode for later.
But Will, like I hear where you're coming from because like the first couple of hours, like I was like, yo, I'm like one hit killing everything with a rock or with a tackle. And then once I got more moves and had different moves for different situations, like it got more interesting to me. And honestly, I mean, again, I'm a FPS meathead, so it didn't really take that much for me to get engaged. It's like, oh great, now I have like an attack that does a lot of damage, and I have an attack that's like really defensive, and then I have my regular attack. Oh great, wow, this is incredible. This is such a sophisticated game. Because I'm used to shooting and reloading. That's it.
I mean, this game is Here in the Wanderer for children and with Pokemon. Here in the Wanderer, a game that this podcast did not like and was too hard for this podcast.
So too hard's not quite the right word.
I'm excited
Did you beat
to
no, but I didn't beat a lot of games that I didn't think were too hard.
Wow.
I mean, look, I'm going to be straight with you. I didn't beat it because I wasn't enjoying it. Like, I was like, I could be doing other things right now. And then I did those things instead. Like, yeah, the game probably does get more interesting and more complex later. But if I'm not hooked by it after playing 3 or 4 hours, like, I'm not being paid to do this. I don't care. I don't.
Wait, they're not
better
paying you?
things
Yeah.
like learning the push HM at the climbing gym. No,
Yeah,
I tried to do an in-lore joke, and I don't even know, is it a TM or an HM, or maybe it's strength. I don't remember anymore.
Rock climb is in Gen
Strength.
4, Andrew. Rock climb is in Gen 4.
And strength is the HM for push.
Strength is the
It's true.
There we go. I have a story about that to tell later
I have
off
things
the
to
mic.
s-
Anyway,
I have things to say about. Okay, can I tell my story of my experience with this game as a child?
Sure.
So I played this game like probably when it came out, probably like within the year it came out, which was like what, like I think 2005,
2006 for North America. Yeah.
Okay, so I
So
would have
20
been
years ago.
So I would have been like 8 years old, and I was like a sad gay child, bullied child, playing this game about adults not taking your side and about not helping you
And being
except for like,
ostracized by the community.
yeah, with like maybe like a nice lady in your dreams who is like helping you. But like, I, as a child playing this game, basically like saw it as like an analog for my life in a very real way. And I also like, this is one of the first games I remember beating ever, like finishing all the way through. This is the first time I ever cried playing a video game. I sobbed at the ending. Will's making a face like he doesn't understand a child reacting to children's media. What the fuck is wrong with you,
I was
buddy?
getting a little
Like-
teary-eyed watching someone's commentary of the end of the game after beating it. I was like, "Yep, in the feels. Like I can sympathize with this game and other people."
100%.
I mean, I think that is the
Emotionally
difference, though.
very
like Helen,
affecting.
you have like deep nostalgia for this game. Like you playing it as an 8-year-old, like yeah, you're absolutely allowed and right to have like a strong emotional response, like connection to the game. So if we're looking at this game as how much did you like it when you were a kid playing it for the first time? Like I really liked Pokemon. I really liked a bunch of stuff as a kid, and I that's fine. And like I'm glad that, like, many people I'm sure love this game.
Well,
And
I am a registered Pokemon game hater, and I've never played this game before. I've never heard of this game before, and it 100% worked on me. I don't buy this thing of, oh, yeah, it's because you played it when you were a sad kid. It's like, I played it as a sad adult, and the ending worked just fine. And it's like a very simple and like direct, like just emotional ending that works great. Yeah, simple and effective.
Good versus evil. Oh, I heard that one before, I think. Yeah, good.
Oh yeah,
versus
like
evil.
Diablo.
There's
Diablo
no
2?
evil in this game. There's no evil in this
the
game.
the meanies, the what? All. Oh my god, are you fucking kidding?
There's a difference between bullies and evil people, Will.
He was gonna drag you to the dark place for that's hell, essentially.
Yeah,
I think.
but
Good luck
he's
for hell.
Yeah,
You know-
bullies suck shit.
But Gengar in that dream sequence has a come to Jesus moment where he's like, you know what? This isn't like me.
No, he doesn't. No, he just
no,
can't
that's
find
good.
a way to drag you there. That's what he says. I don't know where I'm going. I'd love to drag you to hell, but I don't know.
No,
the
he
way
does
there.
stop. He does stop to say this isn't. He does. I didn't take a screenshot of it, but I have the whole
right. This
Gengar
isn't
quest
like
line.
me. Interesting.
Where I mean, like he does have a change of heart. Do we want to spoil Gengar's involvement with the actual story here?
Please spoil Gengar's backstory.
So real quick, because we've already
No,
talked too much about this.
I think we gotta pause on the story. We cannot do any more.
Okay,
story.
we'll leave that for the listeners to explore.
Oh my
We
God.
just got to get to the murky cave first, but but good luck with that one. So yeah, do we have anything else we want to touch on before we wrap up with our rescue team rankings here?
Well, I had a long list, but there's not a lot of time now, so I'm ready for ranking.
Yeah, let's see. Mechanically, it's annoying when you go to start a dungeon and it tells you that you have too many people for the dungeon instead of just like asking you, all right, which one do you want to drop? You got to go all the way back to your base. Then you got to go to the friend zone, and then you have to tell your Pokemon, you got to tell your Magmite to stand back and stand by. And then you can go back to the dungeon. Like that is kind of messy, but clearly they fixed it. And I mean, I don't know what it only takes, I guess, 60 seconds. Could be worse.
Okay, I think it's finally time for us to get into our undebatable, objective ranking numbers here that cannot be disputed whatsoever. Because, like all video game podcasts, we own all of the importance associated with this. So no one can debate these numbers. And in traditional format, going from worst to first and saving our guest for last. We're gonna kick us off with someone who had as I was digging through their fun theory Google sheet to see that they had rated Pokemon Red and Blue as a 9 out of 10.
Correct.
We're starting off with Will's rankings, who I can only assume that this game is also as high of quality.
Yeah, no. If that's not outstandingly clear so far, no. This game is terrible. It's a 4.5. It gets a 4.5 from me, and for many reasons that we didn't really have a lot of time to get through, so I'm not going to be able to go into too much depth here. But yeah, the story is oh my yeah. If you're 7 years old, 8 years old, if you're under
This
10,
guy hates kids so much.
if you're under 10, maybe this. Kids love me, by the way. I'm anti-establishment, and they understand that right away. So the kids absolutely love me. I'm gonna throw that out there. But do I like the kids? No, obviously not, because they're terrible. They don't know what they're doing. And nobody in this story knows what they're doing either. Everything that's there's a 12. I counted it. 12-second punishment every time you start a new day. You want to know why? Because that stupid fucking pelican is flying in, and it needs to go clunk, and it needs to put a new, and it's just 12-second animation, and you're just stuck there. You're waiting. You're just watching, like, why is this taking so much time? And you have to do this over and over and over. And that's just like one thing of the many. Every little interaction you have with anyone is just like, oh, are you sure you want to do that? Do you want to hit A another 10 times so that I don't know whatever the button is. It's the UX for all of the interactions, for all the shopkeeps, for all the people in town is so incredibly painful. And it's incredible to me that, I mean, I guess it's 2005, 2006. What was it? 2005?
We'll say 2005.
Yeah. I mean, like, we've learned a lot in the last 20 years, and UX is one of the things that we've kind of, I think, got down a lot more, but this was an extremely painful game to play, an extremely painful game to get to the end of, and I don't recommend it for anyone. Do not play this game. Do not play this game if you're over 10 years old. That's my recommendation.
Ringing
4.5.
Colin.
All right. I'm going to come in with a 6.6, which puts it at basically exactly the peak of the bell curve of games that we've played, maybe a little bit to the left. But I'm going to compare. This is going to be a kind of a weird comparison, but I have up on my screen Ogre Battle 64, which came out in 1999, and is kind of a game that I have a similar thoughts about, which is I loved this game as a kid, and I think it probably is still like good in many ways, but I tried to replay it as an adult, and we have come so far in UI that and like just game systems in general. And I'm like, boy, if a real, like, really good remake of this would be interesting. I haven't played any of the Final Fantasy VII remakes. I wonder, like, if that. I know that those have been like very strongly remade, with all of the quality of life stuff. So that is really what I would want to play out of this game, not the actual version on the DS, the 2026 remake with all the bells and whistles, with the, like, you can click through faster, and yes, I know that games like that exist, Helen, but we didn't play that game. We played the one from 2006. So
no, I wanted to tell you that they remade this game and it blew ass.
I
They
know,
remade this game and fucked it up so bad.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the risk. Like, yeah, I don't think the story was as bad as Will thinks, but it also didn't, like, grab me. I found it to be fine. And so, like, it did not. The sprites were great. Like, Pokemon in general, fun, but, like, it's not gonna be the thing that keeps me playing if I'm not having fun playing the actual dungeon battle part of it. And granted, I didn't get as far into the game, and I'm sure it probably does get more tactically complex as it gets later. But if I'm not having fun after the first, like, while, like, I have so many games that I could be playing. I'm gonna go play those instead. I still haven't played Expedition 33. I know that's gonna at some point suck up like many tens of hours of my time. So I could go play that. So 6.6.
Well, in a stunning twist, Helen, you'll be thankful that they're not all sixes here. In a stunning twist, somehow I didn't have the highest rating to this, so I get to go next. And I think I'll start with my criticisms first. I think that there's aspects of this game that feel super grindy that, like, I could have done without. Some of the I didn't really well it the plot where you're getting chased and you're on the run, you don't have access to your stash. I was kind of annoyed with at first. I get why it happens, but I felt like I was really kind of powerless and clueless as to what to do. And then I feel like the storyline is sort of it's well done for what it's going for, but it's sort of all over the place in terms of focus because it's like, oh, the Ninetales thing is really important. JK, it's Groudon. JK, it's this giant comet. Like it could have been maybe a little more concise in that regard. The Mankey bit I did not like at all because I got bad RNG and I had to do the dungeon 3 times. I guess technically 4 times, but yeah, I think there's it's a 20-year-old game that's kind of comes with the territory of an old JRPG. Um, the goods here. I think the writing and the story overall are very sincere and cute and maybe a little corny, but that's what the game is. That's what it's going for, and I think what it's going for there, it excels with. The art and sound design for this are great. This is probably the best Pokemon game I've played since Gold and Silver. I think this is really good. It's made me super pumped to play Explorers of Sky. So much so that like I don't want to play the post game dungeons this. I just want to jump into that one instead. The combat flow is much better than a standard Pokemon game. I tried booting up Pokemon Emerald Rogue, which is like your standard kind of Pokemon turn-based combat, but like overworld roguelike stuff, and it just did not work for me at all. I thought this was much better. It was a much more forgiving Sheeran experience because like I didn't have to deal with the bullshit traps all over the place. The artwork of the dungeons felt great. I think it was a good Gen 3 intro to us boomer kids who maybe didn't grow up with the Gen 3 guys, but and I think like the Pokemon Micro was like a little tedious, but actually like kind of compelling from a strategic standpoint in the post game stuff. So there's an absolutely baffling amount of content after the story if you're into that, which is great. And I think it makes it for a great jumping off point to better Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games, but a strong first entry for what they're going for. Yeah, and shocking twist, Andrew. Oh yeah,
Uh,
I guess the number I gave was an 8.0, which for me puts it just ahead of Heat Signature and tying it with Jupiter Hell and Spirit Fall.
yeah, I had it a little lower, but then during our discussion, I raised it from high seven to higher. Uh, because I don't know. I was thinking to myself like, oh, can I say in good faith that I like this game better than Blueprints, which is like, oh, such a revolutionary puzzle game. But then I thought, I don't really like puzzle games. I'll kick it up a little bit. All right, so the faces that we're getting. You thought the sprite work on the faces of your partner Pokemon were expressive. You should see Will right now. All right, so I had a whole bit planned where we were going to play a game called Who's That Pokemon? Dot 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 berry. Where I was going to name Pokemon berries, and you were going to have to tell me if they were real Pokemon berries or ones that I made up. But we just simply don't have time. We simply
I
don't
told
have time.
Andrew I could get 100%. I told Andrew if he fed me real Pokemon berries and fake Pokemon berries, I could 100% that. Not one miss.
I mean, we wanted to find out, but we'll find out when we cover one of the other mystery dungeon games. All right. Check it out. Look, Pokemon incredibly popular for a lot of reasons. One of the reasons is because it resonates with people. People like it, and people that includes adults. And I think that if you go to play a game like this and you can't get into it, you find yourself repelled by how cutesy and how kid friendly it is. I would invite you to look at the game mechanics. One of the statuses in this game is cringe, and if you find yourself not being able to get into this game, I think you might be susceptible to cringe. And I would encourage everyone, I think, to be a fully fledged mature person, you should be immune to that response. And if you're recoiling, if you're cringing at this tone of a game, I would encourage you to lighten up a little bit. I thought this is a well-crafted game. I was again rather riveted at certain moments, at certain arcs, especially the fugitive element, because it was so unexpected. It took such a turn. I was so surprised and so impressed and delighted the entire time I played this game, except for the first couple hours where I thought it was going to be a snooze fest, but it got more interesting as time went on. This game scores 8.102 Andrew points, because of course the points that my co-hosts are using is a completely different scale. They changed it up on me when I wasn't looking. So that puts it right ahead of Halls of Torment and right behind Balatro.
All right, Helen,
Okay.
take us home.
This is a game for children. This is from a type of handheld game for children where you're meant to play the game in like 30-minute increments when you can, not when you are mainlining the game in 2 days to go talk to your fellow men in their 30s about it. This is a game to be played as a child. I would rank this game like exactly what I ranked Sheeran the First, which I don't remember what that is, but it was probably like a 9 point something to piss you guys off. I don't know. I play my soapbox. I play old games all the time. I played the first 5 games in the Trails franchise in 2 months. That's the level of old games shit I'm on. They're remaking those games right now, and my response is why? Why would you do that? Skill issue, frankly. That's what I have to say.
Okay, well, that's going to wind down our mega episode here on a mega favorite from some people's nostalgia banks. Very quickly, very quickly, because we've gone way over budget. Some similar games here for Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Blue Rescue Team. We have our previous episodes that are Mystery Dungeon adjacent with One Way Heroics. We did the episode on Sheeran the Wanderer for NDS. We did Azure Dreams. Some actual ones that we haven't covered yet are Explorers of Sky from Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. We got Super Mystery Dungeon. Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon was another one to recommend. Double thumbs down from Helen, but someone said...
The worst one. I'm sorry. This is... People who listen to this whole thing somehow are going to write in, Super Mystery Dungeon is so bad. I hate that game so much.
Okay, excellent. Noted. We'll maybe do instead Pokemon Emerald Rogue, which is like standard Pokemon combat, but like a roguey overworld. There's Poke Rogue, which I think is just the combat, and you can play in a web browser. We touched on a little bit of the previous Mystery Dungeon games. There's Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon. We got another one for NDS that's Izuna Legend of the Unemployed Ninja, which has a dope soundtrack. A traditional roguelike, one that's up on itch called Summoner RL in all caps. Steam has got some other ones that are sort of adjacent called Dice Folk, Cyrilim Ultimate, and Aethermancer, which are kind of creature collector, more kind of roguey games. Because at a certain point, all the Pokemon just sort of blended into weird monsters and aliens, and at that point, they may as well just be a different game. But yeah, that's going to wind down this another mega episode that we have here. Helen, do you have anything that you want to plug on your way out before I plug all the usual socials here?
I love Grid Slop. Play Shin Megami Tensei Strange Journey. Play Rance 6. That is all.
Excellent. All right, well, our social plugs, grogpodzone@gmail.com. I'll save this email that I have here about us starting up a Patreon next time. But you can write those in to grogpodzone@gmail.com. Our Mastodon, grogpod@gamedev.place, has me posting all sorts of Pokemon anime nonsense. Grogpod.zone, that's where the rankings and all of the other stuff lives, the one-stop shop. All right, so that concludes our episode on Pocket Monsters. But Colin, what do we have on deck for our next episode of this season?
Well, we're going to skip forward 20 years, and we're going to do Monster Train 2. Monster 2 Rain. I know Will already played at least some of it, but I've been holding off because I assumed that at some point we'd play it on the podcast. So I'm pretty excited. It's one of my, what is it, like number 5 for me on my list. So like it is one of the, I gave the first one a 9.5, and people seem to like this one better, the new one better than the original. So I'm pretty excited about it.
Time to get hype. Fight that the good versus evil, as Will loves to say. So, but playing us out from this episode, we're gonna send the podcast and our listeners off into a psychic blast up to the Sky Tower to convince the Dragon Ball. Rayquaza to help us save the world with a hyper beam up in the Sky Tower.
little fella, you like a jump rope, don't you? You see, zip, zop, zoom-a-da-bop. Pokemon. 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 With their hippin' and hoppin' and bippin' and boppin', we don't know what the jail's all about. All right, here I go. Only in the man no. See, jazz is like jazz is like big jazz. Actually, it's more like praise. So you're gonna just sit here and enjoy it. When I was a little boy, we would play stickball. Pokemon!